welcome to day 11 of VALO. VALO. So I wanted to tell you a story today. Some of you might know, and I've talked about this in the past on my channel, but I used to be a river guide while I was going to college. And while rafting, I have a lot of stories from that experience. So I wanted to share with you one very memorable one that happened my very first year of rafting. First, I need to explain the boats that we use. They're 33 feet long, huge. They're old World War II bridge pontoons, and we float down the Snake River. One guy in the back of the raft, one guy in the front, and then there can be up to 22 people that will sit in between the two guides on the boat. And we go down some pretty treacherous water, but this particular story takes place during a storm. If we get caught out in a storm, we have to just keep going all the way until the end. Also, this story takes place in the Grand Teton National Park, which is in Wyoming. So your first year, you don't actually talk to the guests, you just are the navigator on the back, and you set angles on the boat, and I'll put a picture in of me from that right here. So when you're on the back, your only worry is getting everybody down safely. What happened, we got caught about a mile into the trip. This really bad thunderstorm hit us, and the winds can throw the boat around on the river, and so you have to row to keep yourself away from the banks. The guy up in the front was helping navigate with his oar, and we were basically just rowing for like 2-3 hours the entire time. We got hit with like the worst part of the storm, and it was pushing us very heavily into the left bank. And as you can imagine, river banks aren't the most friendliest things to bump into. Sticks and trees sticking out into the river that we have to avoid, and we call those strainers. The particular strainer that I'm going to talk about was a tree that had fallen, and I had seen it every day going down the river, and always thought how bad it would be if we were to go underneath this giant tree that had fallen down. And the wind was pushing us right into this strainer, and we were rowing and rowing, and at the time, you know, I weighed maybe like 145 pounds, like not super strong, so I was trying my hardest, and we were able to keep it away from most strainers, but this one, we got pushed right underneath of it. So the guy in the front of the boat just turns around, he's a more senior guy, just yells at everybody, just like, get on the bottom of the raft. So everybody tries to pile down on top in the middle, and I remember there's this one guy that couldn't get down in the raft because everybody else had gone down, and so he actually snuck underneath the tree, but he had his life jacket on, and it caught on the back of his jacket, and it luckily ripped so that he didn't get like pulled with the tree as the raft went underneath this tree with all the limbs and everything. And then you can now imagine this tree out and the boat going underneath of it. I'm on the back of the raft, so I'm the last person, and I can't get down on the bottom of the raft because everybody's down there. So I actually run towards the tree, get up on top of it, and jump over back onto the raft, all in the middle of this like thunderstorm, and grab my oar again, but the tree gets caught on the back pin of the oar, and basically this so much force and so much weight pushing into this tree, it actually moves the tree and snaps it, and it basically, I didn't see it because I was like, you know, on top of people at this point because I was over the tree already. It felt like it just blew up, and I remember just like wood pieces flying all over these people. Now, we're also getting shoved into the side of the bank, so this big boat just running right up into the side of this bank, and it we're not stopped completely, but the impact kind of shook us around enough that it actually scared me. And the guy in the front of the raft looks back at me, because it's the person in the back of the raft's job to land the boat, and he looks back at me and just goes, "Land the boat!" So I have to get my rope, grab the rope, jump out onto the bank, throw it out, belay the rope behind my butt, and try to like pull it to a stop by pulling it into the bank. Luckily the wind was helping me, so I got it stopped, and I was up in this really tall grass. I remember the wind died down just for a moment, long enough that a little old lady, I heard her on the raft yell, "We lost Luke!" because she had looked back on the raft and I was gone. I was out of the raft because I was up on the bank. Some of the other guests must have looked and they saw a very taut rope that was up into some tall grass, and that's where I was. They're like, "No, he stopped the boat." So the guy in the front of the raft comes out, talks to me just like, "What should we do?" And I was like, "Well, can't really keep rafting like this, we have to wait." So people had to wait in this like half an hour storm. We just threw ponchos over all the top of people. It started to get kind of cold, put some blankets underneath for them, and then finally the storm went down enough that we were able to make it to the end of the trip, and we got in a nice, dry, warm van, and we all had a good laugh about it in the van afterwards. But it was awesome, and yep, so that was one of many stories of rafting in the Grand Tetons that I will never forget. I'll see you guys tomorrow.